records the session. You could find a session recording to review later. Right, so you can see ProjectWise Explorer, and I will connect to SAM's PW data source with my own username. And under Documents, you may see following folders. Some of you will see a bit less folders. That would mean that you will not see VMS system folders and system admin folders. And those will be for ProjectWise administrators. All other folders would be visible to all the connected users. So application data folder holds common data for whole data source, including some user guides, including some import templates, layers, seeds files, and so on. ProjectWise administrators can add folders here if there is a requirement for some additional folders. For instance, mapping data should be stored here and could be used through the all projects.
Someone has the one that.
No, I'll get it.
The one with the.
All right, and so this is a supportive system. The following folders that go to wastewater infrastructure, and so on are quadrant folders, and the folder structure looks like this. We go to quadrant, and then under each quadrant, a location is assigned. And based on the location, then you will have projects under that location. So at the moment, we have only one location. However, when the production will start having more projects, then I'm sure you'll have more locations created by ProjectWise administrators based on the need. And then we have a project. Each project will have their predefined folder structure. The folder structure can be adjusted by ProjectWise administrators, so if you'll need to adjust it, you can ask them. For instance, additional suppliers can be added, and suppliers would be added on per need basis. And if you need to work with external documents, you will be treated as a supplier. So if you will work with documents that originate outside of ProjectWise. Right. Note that each folder has a description with the code, and those codes are used in document creation. So note that you cannot add additional text or anything in the description, and the description should be a project or location or quadrant code. Same goes for folders under here, like discipline folders. As you can see, architect, civil, and so on, these are discipline folders. And each discipline folder has a discipline description code. Architect goes A, civil engineer C, and so on and so forth to comply with suggested BS 1192 folder and discipline coding. And each and every discipline will have a predefined subfolders which would divide documents based on their type. The folder name is quite descriptive, so you can see that this 2D drawing folder is meant for 2D drawings, 2D model for 2D models, 3D composite, so for composite models, 3D federated models, so for federated models, and so on and so forth. and each and every project will have its own resources. So a project-specific resources could be added under this folder. It could be done by project administrators. As you can see, a supplier folder structure is identical as for internal discipline folder structure. And if you need multiple suppliers with multiple different disciplines, then your project-wise administrator will add multiple suppliers with multiple disciplines. Instead of supplier one name, you will have a supplier name. Right. Any questions so far? All right. If something is not entirely clear, don't hesitate and put it in the chat. You can put a message as received for everyone, so everyone can see the question, and I will try to answer that. All right. Directly under project, you have two folders, check prints and PDF renditions. So check prints is just for quick print checking, and PDF renditions. In this folder, the system will automatically create PDFs when the master document reaches particular state. We will cover that while we will talk about workflows, but at the moment just note that your shared and published documents will be automatically put to under project PDF renditions. If you will Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. I assume that the sharing was missing just for a second, right? Can you still see the sharing screen?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Right. So, under each and every discipline and supplier, you'll see on-demand PDF rendition folders. So there you will have on-demand PDFs, raw data, regular data, schedules, and visualizations. Those are folders for data that basically says the folder name. All right. And if you were to create a document inside of architects or drawings, I can drag and drop a document, creating using advanced wizard. So press next. You see the file that I have just dropped, and the descriptions of the folders automatically are picked up by the system and suggested as a document name. So you do not have to assign a document name manually. The system will suggest most of the parts. So you see PR001 is a description from project 1. Company ID is assigned based on my username, as I'm from Bentley, so just took this BE. Your usernames will be assigned to one of the other companies, and it will be suggested automatically. If you need to override it, you can just select from the pick list. Location site has been added from location site description. Type is automatically added because we have dropped the document into the drawing, and role architect is automatically assigned because we have chosen architect folder. The only thing is left to select process asset from a quite long list, and then press generate, and it will generate the first unused serial number in context with all the attributes. So this would be the procedure to create drawings or documents from the scratch when it is originating within Project WISE. If the document is originating outside of Project WISE, so for instance, applications that cannot be integrated with Project WISE, or you cannot work, and you will import only the data, like prepared data or data from suppliers, then you do not need to add any names, because the attributes will be imported automatically. You can see here that project, even though it is under project C1, is another one, while different company ID and so on and so forth. So all those things will be added by coordination group using import tool. So for external documents, the name will be generated with Excel. For documents originating within Project WISE, the document name will be predefined by the system based on to which part you will start creating the document. For instance, I can do 2D model with the same procedure, just to show you. You see that the type has changed, even though everything else is the same. Type has changed because we have changed the 2D model instead of 2D drawing. Right. All right. And the description here for models, we will not generate the code, but for models, there's a free text, a model description. Right. So this is creation for originating documents, and creation for outside importing documents is done here, and that part was covered during yesterday's session, how to import documents. Right. I see question will be from Andrew. Will the supply chain have access to this? I don't think so. I do believe that it will be up to project managers to decide who can access the system. However, the system at the moment has several roles, and all those roles are involved with creation of the data. So there will be work in progress users, there will be checkers, approvers, authorizers, and coordination group. If you need to share with anyone else, probably at the moment the system is not configured that way, unless you will add them as one of the groups. Yes, and I see Kevin has answered in the text message. All right. Any questions on folder structure? Um, can I please ask you to mute? All right. Then let's move on to environment. Environment is a collection of attributes, and all of the folders under each discipline and under supplier will have the same set of environments, and that would be for drawings. It is a drawings environment, and the same environment, drawings, is used for schedules for this. Drawings environment does generate a serial number, so that's the difference from models environment. By environment, we do mean a set of attributes that would be visible here. And to go to document attributes, you should select the document, right-click, and go to properties, or select the document and hit space. Once you have this properties window, navigate to attributes, and have in mind that this layout can be controlled by the interface toolbar, where you have two selections: documents attributes or revision attributes. So see, the layout changes. It is just a representation. Each and every document will have the same collection of the attributes. So in this page and revision page collectively. Other environments may have both or only one layout, only documents, and no revisions, for instance, for general or smaller environments. So an overview of environments would be a drawings environment, a collection of attributes including document code. Another one would be models environment, where most of the attributes are the same as for drawings. However, there is no serial number, and you have a free text for that. And some of the selections are locked. For instance, scale and sheet size for models is locked, as there is always one-to-one and sheet size is not available. And additional environment is visualizations, which additional environment is general, which is under visualizations, and it basically has notes. That's it. Nothing else, just a description that would help to identify the document or search on the document. And other things is for federated models. This environment is called iModels, and it has attributes, description, and two additional attributes: approver and revision version. So in essence, the main collection of attributes that you will be working will be drawings or models. That stores the most information about those data. Right. Any questions? I see question, who will set up folders for existing projects? Do you mean existing projects at the moment, or do you mean the project and project-wise when it is already created and you need to modify folders? For existing projects. To my knowledge, project managers or project-wise administrators will set up all the projects in project-wise. Yes, please, Kevin. Everybody, can I ask you to send to everyone so everyone can see, not privately?
Okay, so it's not the intention, Martinez, to set up projects in ProjectWise that are already underway, with one or two exceptions which are known and decided upon, such as the Tideway System Works project, which runs for 3 years and has only just started. But essentially, we will be expecting all new projects from from stage C onwards, so through the C to E stages, to be set up on ProjectWise going forward. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry for the problem. I have misunderstood it. I assume just subfolders, the modification of existing projects in ProjectWise within folders. Thank you, Kevin, for answering this. I see a question from Bennett. Is there a space for drawing status code? Yes, indeed. So we can go through all attributes for drawing. And to answer to your status code, the status code is the suitability code. Is that the answer that you were looking for, Bennett? All right. So while creating a document, regardless whether the document was imported through Excel import or the document was created using ProjectWise Explorer, the attributes will be there, and you'll see that a project, company ID, all the attributes that make up the name is on the top thing, and additional attributes here. So this is a title, a second line and third line. You could identify the required attributes by seeing an asterisk or selecting that field, and you will see that the field is marked as mandatory. You will be able to save the document even without filling in the mandatory fields, but you will not be able to progress in the workflow. Right, so you can see line 1 is editable, 2 and 3. Line 1 is required, line 2 and 3 are optional. Revision version is a read-only attribute which holds revision and version and will be modified and taken care of by the system. The user does not have to add or modify revision version. Suitability code is a mandatory field, and suitability code will be cleaned out on certain stages in ProjectWise workflow, where the user will have to select a new code. Without it, the user will not be able to progress. Automatically, we have a suitability description changing based on the code. Location site is inherited from ProjectWise project. Project group is inherited from order infrastructure, CWI. Subprocess, they're not mandatory attributes, but can be selected by the user. Default values are suggested by the system. And here you see who has authored, checked the dates, who has approved. Note that approved by, we save 2 fields, two values. Firstly, if the document is shared, so that means it is approved, then approvers initials and name is saved here. However, if the document progresses towards publishing and the user publishes the document, so publishers initials are added instead of approvers. So approvers initials are overwritten with publishers initials. rejected by will be filled in by user's initials who initiates a new version. So either the document is rejected or the document is revised, and here we capture who has done that. And here we have scale and sheet. Both are mandatory fields for drawings, and we cannot progress without them. We have a pick list where to select from. If we would move to more attributes tab, you can see several attributes. A reference status, this indicates how is this document treated while it is being as a reference. So in this case, it is considered it is unapproved. You will not be able to approve any master document that would have this document as a reference, because these documents should be approved before all the references should be approved before approving the master. Revision information is several lines for revision information. The first line is also mandatory. Without it, you will not be able to progress. Other lines are not. All right. I see a few questions, and everything is, as I mentioned before, the same for models with small changes. All right. I see the question from Neil. Drawing attributes shows author, checker, and approver, but not reviewer. Will this be added? This is a distinct part of Atkins QA process. To my knowledge, at the moment, there are no plans to capture reviewer. However, if Atkins will initiate the document outside of Project WISE, so that means that you will move towards a supplier approach as importing of the document. The system will capture only approver, and checker and author will be supplied by Atkins, unless, Kevin, you have a different approach, because the reviewer was decided not to add as a field, as the title block of the drawing also does not hold the reviewer. I see Alex's question, can we use general identifier code? Alex, could you please elaborate on this on a microphone? That's fine.
Kevin here, Martinez. Yeah. I think I'm not familiar with the 102 general code that Alex has mentioned, but the code, all the process codes are as laid out in SPDA 14, and the appendices that go with it, which identify the processes that process codes and the location codes, which I think everybody should be able to get to those on TwexNet. They're all published. It's a conversation we can take offline, I think, if we need to.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, just to note, the system is configured based on a workshop and multiple requirements, and those requirements have been aligned and agreed on the outcome that you see at the moment. All right. Let's move on then. Okay. Let's move on to next topic, and At the moment, I see workflows, and the focus here will be on the workflows CDE imported. CDE imported workflow will be used under supplier. So the difference from supplier folder structure and discipline folder structure is that all of the discipline folder structures has CDE originated workflow, and supplier has CDE imported workflow. And so CDE originated workflow is here, and CDE imported workflow is here, and you may notice a slight difference on work in progress and content checking. In CDE originated, the document is created in the work in progress, then it is checked and issued for approval or for sharing, and everything happens within the system. However, for CDE imported, for documents that originate outside of the system, work in progress area is outside of the system, and documents are imported already when they're being after checking. So the only two players in CDE imported are approvers and authorizers. It is approvers' responsibility to approve for sharing the drawing, and then it is approvers' responsibility to initiate authorization and authorizers' responsibility to publish document. Alternatively, the approvers may initiate early publishing, and authorizers will confirm early publishing, and the document will be shared with the group. From security perspective, you can see that approve for sharing area is visible only to discipline, and once the document crosses this line, the document becomes visible to all other disciplines. Same goes for documents that originate within ProjectWise. However, they have just a bit longer route to shared site, as work happens in ProjectWise. So to illustrate this, we have a document here, and the document is imported into the system. So it goes through this line, and the document lands in approve for sharing. So that would mean that the document is authored and the system imports the date and already checked. So, and it starts the documents live with here, and it is now approver's responsibility to approve the document for sharing. And as mentioned before, the document, all the references should be already approved. And I will illustrate that with an example. See, this drawing has a reference. And that reference is also in approve for sharing state. That means the reference is not shared, and the reference is in here also. It is visible only to the same discipline, and if it is visible to the same discipline, you should not attach it as a reference if you are from another discipline. So I'm from the same discipline, and I'm an approver here. I will try to approve the document, and the approving of the document and changing of the document is done by selecting a document or multiple documents. clicking right mouse button and then going to change state, and you see approve, revise, and early publishing, which correlates here to approve goes blue arrow, revise goes orange arrow, and early publishing is green arrow. From each state, let's do approve, shared drawing for model, and the system says that condition check failed, document reference is rejected. So that identifies that the document is and that the reference is not approved. So that is exactly this reference, and we need to approve it before we can approve a master drawing. All right. During approval, here you see a project-wise version has been created, so it drops and creates a version superseded with. So this is this one, and as a historical file, and the new project-wise version is created and goes to revision P1 instead of P1.1. So you see the minor version is removed because the document is already shared, and it becomes visible to all of the other disciplines within the same project. Now I need to manage versions. Right, now I will be able to approve the document if all of the attributes that are required here are filled in. So if I would clear this attribute and then try to approve it, right click, we do have an error message saying condition check failed, document attribute is empty, TB line 1. So it refers to TB line 1. That would mean, oh, sorry, this line here. Where is the where did that document attributes to this line? The system shows you system names, so unfortunately not titles that you can see here, but there are not too many required attributes, so you can see them straight away and identify by the name. For instance, title, so that's title line 1, suitability code, so that would be this one, and revision information. For drawings, you have also scale and sheet size. Right, I need to so this is the document. I will add the title, and I will be able to approve right now, hopefully. Yes, as you can see, the document is shared now. Let's go to revision. So it has moved to this state. The document is visible to other disciplines and can be used as a reference. When the approver decides that it is time to move for publishing, it is approver's prerogative and responsibility to move it for sharing. And you see, as an approver, I have approved for sharing now, but I will move it for authorization. So change state, move document for publication, and now the document landed into authorized for publication, and it is administrators and authorizers' responsibility now to approve the document for publishing. And I will will log out and log in with authorizer. All right. Authorize for publication as an authorizer, and you may see the suitability code is removed because we have to select another suitability code that is appropriate here. And I could start change state approve, and you will see that the system will not allow me to continue. RVS code 1 suitability code. Unless I select the appropriate one, A, B, or B. And as an authorizer, during the authorization, the system takes all the attributes that are binded to the title block and pushes it to the title block. So you don't need to open a physical file and modify the title block. The project-wise system will push all the appropriate attributes, like scales and sheets, to your drawing title block. At this point, the document reaches revision C01. So published documentation will have revision starting with C, and all other revisions will start with P. And suitability code. Each drawing and model does have a revision history attributes. So as this is a first published revision, the first line is filled in. In the title block, you will see the same line filled in with initials of author, checker, and approver, or authorizer. This does correlate to these three fields. And the date. Once you will need a new revision, assuming that you're working on CD imported state, imported workflow, you need to revise the document, revise, sign, create a new form, and the document will land creating a historical version. It will land to approve for sharing, where it will be coordinations group responsibility to export the document and move and request additional version of the document from supplier, or request the version from your external system to be filled in instead of the approved one. You see author, checker, and approver has been removed and cleared and added, rejected by the date and the reason. revision attributes has been also updated. So the C01 is no longer the active version. It goes to line 2, and the active version is always the lowest line. In this case, attributes revision information is also cleared. So for each and every new revision, you have to fill in new revision information that relates to that particular revision. All right. I see question from Sam. Is there a practice area on ProjectWise? I would assume you are asking about some test area where you could test your workflows. If that is the case, then there is a separate data source, which is called TEMS training, where administrators try their own things. And I believe that you should have access there for sandbox playing, but I believe the authority to allow it to Kevin and Trevor. I don't know now at the moment who has access to that area. And I see Andrea's question, does the authorizer get prompted that they have documents waiting authorization? Yeah. The system is not prompting.
Shall I just answer that, Martinez?
Oh, yeah. This is regarding the messaging, right?
Notifications. Yeah.
Yes. Which has
So
been
the system is currently disabled, but we can turn it on. But the problem with notifications is that on a project-by-project basis, everybody gets notified about everything. And we need to do some work with Bentley to configure the system to specifically notify the individual who's responsible for the action in the workflow. So at the moment, the answer to Andrew's question is no, because we're going to turn it off, but we hope to have that configured in the not too distant future. You won't be surprised if it comes down to funding. We need to get some more cash to do some more work with Bentley. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay. I'll log out with this user and log in back with my user. All right. So as you have noted, the references to the master document should be approved. So if you need to attach any other reference which is not part of the workflow, note that you will have to use an environment. So the folder cannot be a naked folder without any attributes. You will have to use an environment, either general or iModels. So the general environment, by default, everything that is in general environment is considered as approved reference. General environment, in this case, we have for visualization, and there are other folders where we use general environment, for instance, for mapping or for images or for other things. So if you have added a document as a reference and you cannot approve your master document, that would mean that the reference is not approved or it is considered as not approved. So you have to use the reference from the folder which has general environment. With additional exception for federated models. Federated model folder and workflow and environment is meant for documents that cannot be attached as a reference in their native format, but for that reason we would export an iModel, and iModel can be attached as a reference. But in this area we have added a bit of a control. So approvers need to approve the model for sharing. So initially the documents will be imported in the proof for sharing state, and the approach is similar as CD imported, that the system will not allow other disciplines to see the document until the document is shared. Initially, when the documents are imported, they are visible only to your own discipline, but then the approver can share it with other disciplines, and then it can be assigned as a reference and approved as reference. So you see reference status approved, it correlates to shared state because the document is shared. In this case, I can go reject, revise the document. It went to P2.1, approved for sharing. There is no initials who has approved it, and the reference status has changed to unapproved. That would mean that a master document that has this iModel attached as a reference will not be able to approve it. Right. Add description and test, and right-click, change state, approve, share iModel. Automatically add my initials, and the reference status changed to approved. All right. That is it on workflow for CD imported and CD federated. And I will now review the questions. Oh, I see, Paul. Can you explain what federated model is? In this case, the term federated model is when you, as I mentioned, you cannot share the original native document, so you must export an iModel for sharing across and adding them as a reference. That is what, at the moment, this is in mind. Yes, indeed, Kevin. See, Andre, is a flowchart being created that demonstrates how the system workflow will work in conjunction with our well-defined QA check review process? I'm finding it hard to visualize the two things together. At the moment, I do not think that there is one created. However, I would like to ask Kevin about this.
So yeah, there is a requirement in Atkins to have a review which is separate to check and approve. Thames Water don't have that, MWH don't have that. We haven't configured that step in ProjectWise. I need to work out, and I'm going to try and talk to Stuart Kinsey later today to try and work out how we get over that. But my initial thought is that the reviewer will be the person who approves for sharing, typically on most projects. But obviously we need to work out if there are any exceptions to that. Okay, hope that helps.
All right. Thank you. Okay. If there are no more questions on the workflows, then we will move on to PDFs printing. I just want to note that you can find the documentation under Application Data Administrator Guide PWSRS. Here you can find the document that describes all the workflows and securities in case you have not captured during this training, or you would like to review and remind yourself how the system works and how it should behave, then you can find the PDF here. So that's Documents, Application Data Administrator Guide, ProjectWise SRS. I'm sure that Kevin will send out an email with a link to this if that will be required. Right. As I mentioned a few seconds ago, automated PDFs will be created in shared state and in published state, and it will be added to underscore PDF renditions under project. The PDF creation, the automatic PDF creation will take the most 30 minutes because the schedule runs every 30 minutes. So yeah, if you would move a document to published for the published documentation, the maximum amount of time when the document should have its PDF would be half an hour. It depends on to which cycle you have added the document. So if the job has been run 15 minutes before you have approved the document, then you have 15 minutes to wait for additional work. It is assumed that PDF renditions are being printed only from drawings, not from models. And for models, it is assumed that manual renditions are done. So, and manual renditions are done like this. You select a document, right-click on the document, go to Create Renditions, select it, and there you have everything predefined for you. On-demand PDF, so the only one selection. Presentation gives you several selections. By default, it is A1, but you can change to A0, A2, A3, or try to scale 1:1. First, for selection, you select a PDF sheet size, and the system will maximize the drawing to that sheet size. So A0 maximize, A2 maximize. The last one with the scale, the system will try to select a sheet size based on a drawing applied scale 1:1. The format is always PDF, and the base name is base name and draft. So each and every PDF will have -draft to identify that it was created manually. Destination is also only one selection, which is defined here on demand PDF rendition. So it is this folder. If you have this tick box on, you will receive a notification once the job is finished, either successful or not. So I'll submit the document now. Rendition job has been submitted. And it should land here. Any questions on renditions? I think for automated renditions, the system will take this value to push it to that particular size. So if you are drawing A1, it will be printed in A1 PDF size. And right, now it's worth mentioning that each and every project does have predefined saved searches. So you do not need to search for yourself, but for particular areas. For instance, all the documents that are for early publishing, all the documents that are published, shared, or superseded published. You just click here, and it will show you the exact state for that project. See how many documents are published now or shared in that particular project are superseded published. So that means new version is coming. Each and every user can create their own personal searches. So if you are a approver, you may wonder which documents are in Authorise if they are publication. So you can create your own search for that particular folder, for that particular state, and you could refine that for particular discipline if you need to. And I see that I have received an email. So the email states the job that I have executed. It says where the input file and where the output file is. And if I would click the link, it will try to open ProjectWise Explorer and just go to that particular PDF. Good. Check it. The PDF is printed with a drawing and all the attributes updated from the system. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Looking and hearing the silence, I would assume that no. Then I believe that this is the end of the presentation. Unless, Kevin, you would like me to cover some other additional topics or put some highlights. All right. I would assume then no. And I would like to thank you for the attendance. Oh, I see some. I'm not familiar, Sam. What are the GDC? Probably then it is best to refer to Kevin to answer this question. I do not know. Yeah, this is the question to Kevin or internally to Atkins then. Yeah. You can also please ask using microphone if that is faster too. All right. If you don't have microphone, then that's also fine. I can wait several minutes for the questions if you'll have or you can think of anything. And if you don't have any questions, then I will thank you for attendance. Thank you. Paul, do you mean like a document with a doc drawing register? ProjectWise will automatically create drawings on documents and will make them unique and make them unique by name, you see here, and you can search on all documents and you will have that list. Will this recorded session be sent around? Yes, indeed. We will gather all the sessions and I will provide links to Kevin, and Kevin could distribute those internally. The document registry. You can do that essentially if you would select all the lists that you have. Just selecting a subset of documents, but you can select all the documents from all for projects or for a particular project. Then copy list to, tab separated, and then launch Excel. Then you can, depending on the view that you have, you may see different report, or this would be considered as report. Would that answer the question? And I see Andrew's question, is there a function which shows us status of all drawings in example issued? As I mentioned, you have saved searches here. Some of them would show you directly what it is, but you can always create your own search and save it, and that will give you the report on that particular second. For instance, we go save search form, and I would go, did you want to some issued? So in this case, that would be published, right? Published documentation, and for instance, any other attributes, published scale size A1, and directly I can see how many documents do I have that match that criteria. And you can do the same thing, Control A, right, and copy list to, and next tab, and use it as a report. The top line will always have the column names, and the results will be there. All right. I believe that I have answered all the questions, and if I have missed something, please ping me. Which function are you talking? Oh, export to Excel. Yes, you can. This function is used by a coordination group. It exports a full list of documents that are selected, including the physical files behind the scenes. So it is a bit different functionality from the one that I've showed you a second ago. You have to configure Excel template, and based on the view and the template, you can export files, including attributes. If you do not need the files, probably then you can remove them and do not do anything with them, but use just an Excel sheet. It will export things like where the document is kept in ProjectWise. It will export the file name and document name and additional values. There is a recording about ProjectWise Excel import-export, and I believe that Kevin or Trevor can share it with you. All right. Thank you all. All right. If there are no more questions, then thank you and have a good day. And then I'm stopping the recording right now.